Have you been told by friends and family to avoid saturated fat, especially the saturated fat in butter? Maybe even your doctor has said this, but you really love butter and want to actually get back to eating on a regular basis. If that sounds like you, you've come to the right video. Hi, I'm Dr. Hampton, and as you know, I'm on a mission to help you achieve metabolic health. Today, I'm here to help you, along with a friend, remove some of the fears of butter. And that good friend is Bella, better known as the Steak and Butter Gal. So make sure you check out her YouTube channel as well. Who better to ask about butter than the Steak and Butter Gal, right? So Bella, I've seen you literally eat butter just by itself, which seems crazy to most people, right? So take a moment to help us understand why we shouldn't fear butter and why you have embraced it so much.
So I've been eating butter almost every day for the past 6 years now. Ever since adopting this carnivore lifestyle, I have been eating so much animal fat, and not just in the form of butter. I also eat it in tallow, suet form, in just fatty red meat like ribeye, New York strips, flank and short ribs. So fat is such a huge part of my diet now, and I have literally seen a direct translation in how my skin has improved, how my hair has grown, how my hormones have completely healed. I started carnivore with no period. They also call it amenorrhea. And maybe since you're a doctor, you can explain what exactly that is. But I did have amenorrhea for 2 years, mostly because I was vegan for 6 years before going carnivore. So I've seen just a dramatic change in my appearance and also how I feel and my healing in general.
That's amazing. And you're right. Amenorrhea is just the absence of a menstrual period. And what we find is that there are so many people who are not metabolically healthy and their entire cycles get off. They get things like polycystic ovarian syndrome, et cetera. So it's really important that if we feed our body the right foods, we're going to heal. I also want to add to what you said, Bella. There's so many fears, and I'm really speaking to my clinicians out there right now. It is already a known fact that we've debunked many of the fears about saturated fat, in particular, the saturated fat in butter. And that really came from a very prestigious journal, the Journal of the American College of Cardiology. This is in 2020. And what they found is that when they looked at the high quality studies on saturated fat, they found no link between saturated fat and heart disease, and actually found it was protective against stroke. And it also was not increasing your risk for cancer. So they were so convinced of this that they asked the World Health Organization to retract their saturated fat reduction statement, and hopefully they will do that. In the meantime, there's this anti-butter messaging is totally not necessary. Another thing that us in the carnivore community know is that saturated fat curbs our appetite, particularly in the form of butter. So I'm sure you've noticed that too, Bella.
Absolutely. Not only has it curbed my appetite, and I also equal that to just feeling satiated. I don't feel like I eat less than I usually do when I incorporate butter. I've been eating more than I ever have in my entire life, but yet I don't really see gain in fat, body fat. I
Right.
actually see myself getting leaner and leaner, stronger and stronger. So it's just incredible. There's no negative to eating animal fat. And then I've also used butter for like the first 2 years of carnivore as a crutch whenever I have sugar cravings or I want to crave chocolate. It's that time of the month. I want that sugar. I instead take a bite of my butter right here. I actually brought it for this interview. This is one of my favorite butters. Just take a bite of the butter straight out of the fridge or freezer, and it actually silences that voice of
Yeah.
craving sugar. Yeah.
That's crazy. And prior to this discussion, I think the first time I actually ate butter was when we were filming in Costa Rica. And it was actually Maria Emmerich who kind of spiced it up a little bit. Shout out to Maria Emmerich. It was the first time I actually just ate butter. And so, in preparation for our conversation, I said, you know what? Let me eat some butter, just plain butter. And I was shocked that it's almost like this creamy, it all had a sweet taste to it. I was actually pretty impressed. So for those who think we're in the twilight zone, give it a chance. Give it a chance. You may be surprised not only that it tastes pretty good, but obviously it'll curb your appetite. It's not going to harm your heart. But more importantly, I remember the days of margarine when that was a hot thing.
Oh,
And so any of these seed oils where they take seeds and they call it vegetable oil, what they're doing is they're giving you a highly processed oil. And it's much better to eat something that's natural that comes straight from the cow. So that's another thing. Vitamin A is going to be much better with butter. You get a lot of vitamin A, and you need that mostly. We think about our vision, our immune system, and we also think about reproduction,
yeah.
which is really important, being able to make babies. And then there's something called butyrate. Butyrate is what we call a short chain fatty acid. And that what that does is it actually does the work of what we normally would get from fiber. A lot of times people say you got to have fiber, but that's not really true. What we found in the carnivore community, we don't eat fiber at all. And I think fiber does more to irritate my gut than to help it. And so, in order to protect the gut of a carnivore, someone doing keto, butyrate actually reduces inflammation and it helps to regulate the motility of your bowel, which is really important, which is why my irritable bowel is not a thing anymore. Obviously, Bella suggested that, well, I'm actually losing weight. How do you lose weight eating fat, right?
It's
and and part of that is because fat fuel is going to be what your body adapts to when you eat this way. So you'll actually burn fat as fuel,
yes.
and you won't be hungry because even a Bella who's slim actually still has fat on her body. So whenever she's hungry, her body has the fuel sitting right there. And the last thing I'll mention is that it's a great source of something called linoleic acid. And linoleic acid helps us prevent cancer. It actually inhibits cancer, which is really cool. It strengthens the immune system. And it also does things like improve insulin sensitivity and protects the heart. So, Bella, I can't find any negatives here. So as we kind of wrap up this video, any final thoughts on why people should be eating more butter?
I just love the whole breakdown that you gave. It is so helpful and so easy to digest, just like butter. And I personally think young women, more than anybody right now, young women, teenagers, growing girls, and men, of course, need to eat more animal fat. Butter is just so palatable. It's so delicious. It's easy to just grab on the go, even and take out of your fridge. I would love for this video to reach the younger generation because women can have amazing cycle experiences. They can be so fertile, they can have wonderful pregnancies, healthy children, awesome families. So, thank you, Dr. Hampton, for everything you do.
Thank you. And by the way, guys, I'm part of the Steak and Butter gang, so we'll make sure to have a link to that in the video notes, which provides support. And whether you're young or old, I think that type of support is foundational in helping us achieve our health-related goals. And for those who have checked us out, I thank you for coming to my channel. Like, subscribe, share. Anybody in your life, young or old, who's afraid of butter, here's your opportunity to prove to them that they shouldn't be afraid, and particularly our clinicians. Please make sure they learn about the Journal of the American College of Cardiology saying that it's not harmful and that it's actually protective against stroke. Thank you, Bella. And until the next video from the Metabolic Health Doc, continue to be safe, be well, and continue to protect your nest.